Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Zen Den number 4, which I'm so excited about. So, for those of you who are new to the Zen Den, I've created this space with the intention of providing space. And when I first started, I figured, well, if we're socially distant, it's nice to feel like we're deeply connected. And what better way to feel that we are deeply connected than to share space, share breath, share time with each other. And even though we might be physically distant, we are still feeling like we're deeply connected. And I felt like this would be such a safe space, a space where we come in, light a candle, sit together, and feeling that sense of comfort in being able to close our eyes with people we don't know, and how profound it is to feel a sense of comfort with strangers in a space where we're able to just close our eyes and feel like we are sharing space with others, and just recognizing that we have a safe space to feel vulnerable. And I feel like the more vulnerable we are with each other, the more we feel deeply connected, the more we feel like we're being heard, feel like we're understood. It's that deep sense of comfort and vulnerability when you know that someone is really listening and hearing what you're saying, and the power of that, and that you don't have to be in the same physical space in order to feel that. There's an awareness that each of us, regardless of where we are in the world, we feel the same emotions, we have the same experiences, we're dealing with the same things just at different times. And that in of itself should make us feel connected. But it's very easy in this moment, in this space, to feel isolated. So I thought, well, what can we do to create a safe space where everybody feels that they have the ability to be vulnerable, feel comfortable in that space, and just giving us a space where we feel the freedom to breathe, to feel, that we don't have to hide our feelings or emotions, no worry about being judged or criticized for how we feel, that we can be in a safe space together and breathe, and having no judgment about how we're breathing, whether we're doing it right or wrong, whether we're advanced in our meditation practice or beginners. And I like to feel that, at least in this space of now, that if we can keep ourselves in the present moment awareness of what we're able to create just within our minds, that we're able to create a space where we can show up in the lives of the people we touch in a significant way. And the theme of week 1 was service. It was exploring outer space and inner space, the outer space and the inner space, and identifying ways that we can show up in service to others, being a resource to people by offering our energy to others, knowing that there have been people that have shown up in our lives in a significant way that made an impact, had an influence, maybe gave guidance or advice that drastically shifted the course and direction of our lives, and that we then have the opportunity to show up in someone else's life in the same way. Week 2, the theme was connection, knowing that we're never alone, because there's always somebody who's been where we are now, and somebody who will experience what we're experiencing, so that we can receive advice and give advice and know that we're contributing to the path, and at least offering lessons, showing up as teachers for each other. And the funny part about week 2 is that we were, talking about our perception of ourselves and others and our perspective of things. So we played a little version of Pin the Tail on the Donkey, which was kind of pinning the tail on ourselves, but just realizing that depending on where our perspective comes from will often depend on how we show up in the world. And that if we can then put ourselves in the shoes of someone else, from the perspective of someone else, that we automatically, start to be able to empathize with them and have connection. And that was the perfect merge into week 3, which was harmony, understanding, and working on a space of global calm. And calm in the world, calm in our home, calm in our hearts, our spirit, and just the idea that we're all in sync and using our similar experiences and emotions to recognize that we all are living in this synchronous existence and that our paths are crossing and intersecting with divine timing to create the life experiences that comprise our perspective of the world. This is week 4. And I thought that week 4 would be a perfect evolution from where we've been to now starting creating thoughtful patterns and habits. So the theme this week is allowing ourselves to be aware of what we're creating in our minds right now so that we can start developing patterns of thought, mindful patterns of thought that create habits. We talked a bit in week 2 about how our persistent and consistent focus, whatever we choose to focus our attention on, that defines our reality. So I wanted us to really delve into exploring what we define as our reality, and then starting to be aware of observing what we're creating for ourselves so that we can then show up in the world creating mindful and thoughtful patterns and habits. So let's start with the breath. We always start with the breath in one way or another. So we'll start with the breath in this space. Find a comfortable space where you feel good. Maybe you're propping up your feet. If your video is off, maybe you're naked, laying on a couch. Who knows what you're doing, which is totally fine. This is the part of being comfortable in your vulnerability. So you're able to do whatever feels good. Lie around, hang out, whatever feels good. And just realizing that this is your safe space. So when we close our eyes and we're here together, you're in a safe space and your energy is recognized, it's appreciated and honored. So when it feels good, just allow yourself to close your eyes in this safe space and notice the natural rhythm of your breath. And when you focus on your breath, do you notice that it changes at all? It's just your natural rhythm. So you're not doing anything that you wouldn't normally do. What are you aware of in this breath? It's so much easier to feel with your eyes closed because it gets rid of the external distractions. So start to check in with how you feel. What are you aware of? Are you aware of energy or noise in your physical space? Are you aware of the rhythm of your breath? Are you aware of your posture? Anything going on in the physical body that's drawing your awareness? Where do your thoughts go in the breath? Are you curious about what's happening next? Or are you creating what's happening now? Are you aware of what you want? And is what you're creating right now in alignment with what you want? When we start to become an objective observer of our thoughts, being aware of what we're creating for ourselves in the breath, we become more in tune with the power of our thoughts to create energy and emotion for us. And I suggest that our only reference frame for any experience is our emotions. And in fact, the only evidence we exist are our emotions. So we're going to work on a breath awareness exercise. I want you to consider the opportunity that this breath brings, thinking of everything we have access to in this breath. So I'll ask you to start with a long 3-count inhale. You'll inhale for 3 counts, hold for 3 counts, and then exhale for 3 counts. So I'll count us off. Inhale, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 3, 2, 1. And exhale, 3, 2, 1. Just one round. So now you've gone through this one round of breath. Well, let's observe where your attention is focused in this breath. So let's focus on thoughts, ideas. Every thought that comes into your space, it's like a conversation, a commentary. We use our thoughts to assess the situation we're in, to make assumptions. We automatically analyze. And whatever we choose to focus on, whatever we're examining, whatever we're analyzing, we're forming an opinion. So with this breath, this space, where are your thoughts going? Are you analyzing what I'm saying? Are you thinking about the space you're in? Start to objectively observe your thoughts. Start listening to your thoughts. Now, I often suggest that when you're listening to your thoughts, your work becomes to figure out who's doing the listening. Because when you're listening to your thoughts, you realize, well, your thoughts aren't you, they're just a running commentary. So I'd like for us to start putting our thoughts to work for us. So if you're running a commentary in your mind all the time anyway, start to listen to that commentary and evaluate the quality of the commentary in your mind. Are you offering a critique, a judgment? Or are you just open-minded with no attachment or expectation at all? Are you able to just observe without analyzing? Are you evaluating the situation based on where you've been? Maybe stereotyping, just boxing in this moment to some preconceived notion of where you've been before, what you think should happen. Are you allowing for something brand new? Start to observe the conversation and maybe consider ways that you can improve the quality of the commentary that you allow into your mind. I'll suggest that a good, thoughtful pattern that might create thoughtful habits is to start by replacing criticisms with compliments. Even if we never share the compliment with the person we're complimenting, just allowing yourself to start habitually complimenting people. The strangers you see on the street, the people in your space, in your life. I'm always surprised by how complimenting people makes me feel. That offering a compliment, even if the person doesn't respond, that just the effort it takes to compliment, finding a redeeming quality in everyone. And I can promise, sometimes even though you have to look hard, you can always find a redeeming quality about everyone. Everyone has something worth complimenting, whether it's in their attitude, their energy, their physical presence. There's always something that someone is contributing to your space, even if it's showing up as an example of what you don't want. There's a way to compliment that too. So, ways to improve our thought patterns. And understanding that every intention we ever set, every goal we've ever had starts as a thought, an idea. And I'll suggest that new and improved thoughts lead to new and improved intentions, goals, and dreams. So consider creating a thoughtful habit. And next time you're tempted to critique or judge, compliment and encourage instead. And you'll start to observe your thoughts and the patterns you're creating. And like with anything else, the more often you do anything, the more consistent you are, the easier it is to do. So set the intention to start replacing the criticisms with compliments. And allowing yourself to be a force that inspires, empowers, and encourages, rather than doing anything else. So let's check in with the breath again. This time, let's do a 4 count. 4 count inhale, 4 count hold, and 4 count exhale. Just one round. I'll count it off for us. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's check in with our feelings. So the thoughts, they come and go, but we always have a feeling that comes up with the thought. How do we feel about the commentary in our mind? How do we feel about the place we're in right now? Do you feel comfortable, at ease? Is there something you would shift or change? How do we feel about the circumstances around us? Maybe it's around us in the room we're sitting in, around us in our home, or around us in our neighborhood, our community, or around us in the world. How do we feel about the people we're with? How do we feel about the judgments that we might impose on ourselves or others? Do we have limiting belief systems and feelings that constrain how we feel or dictate or define it? Because we realize the emotional energy that we assign to our circumstances, to our relationships, to ourselves. No, it's up to us to define that no one else can make us feel anything. In fact, we condition ourselves to feel because we're creating a response to a thought or an idea, and that manifests as a feeling. How do we feel about our body image, about the way we look? Are we in comparison with ourselves and others? Do we feel positive and confident, or negative and self-defeating? Do we offer ourselves compliments, or do we spend time criticizing? What belief systems do we hold that are directing our emotional energy and influencing the way we feel? Do we believe that our body should look a certain way, and so we make every effort to conform to that standard of beauty? Do we believe that we should play a certain role as parent or spouse or lover or friend? Do we perceive that these roles are dictating how we should show up in the world? Do we measure what we perceive as success based on our material wealth or financial income or our relationship status? What do we believe about our relationships with our friends, family, relatives? Have you ever imposed a belief on your friends or lovers or children, expecting that they should fall in line with a role that you've predetermined for them? How are the belief systems that we choose influencing the way we feel? Because if our beliefs are impacting our relationships, impacting how we interact with others, how we show up in the world, how might we shift our belief systems to start to create more of the feelings that we ultimately want and deserve? Take a moment to just check in with the feeling right now. Are you wondering how long it will all go on, or are you enjoying the time you're spending in this breath? Are you waiting for the next thing to happen? Are you enjoying the time you're spending right now? Let's check back in with the breath. This time, let's do a 5 count. Inhale, 5 count hold, and 5 count exhale. I'll count us down. Inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Notice your physical sensations. How does your physical body feel right now? Are you comfortable in your seat? Do you notice any discomfort in the body? Do you have any reoccurring or chronic pain in the back, shoulders, neck, knees? Something you feel all the time, or a feeling that comes and goes? How does the way your physical body feels impact how you feel about yourself? How does that physical sensation in the body impact how you might show up in the world? So if you stub your toe while you're walking, do you feel the same peace and tranquility as you would if you were relaxing with your feet propped up? Well, probably not. But how does that physical sensation ultimately influence how you show up in the world? If you stub your toe first thing in the morning, does that change the way you show up in the lives of the people you touch when you walk out the door? Do you judge yourself for injuring yourself? You're one of those people that talks about, why did I do that? How stupid that was. And then how does that affect how you feel about yourself? We all make mistakes. We all stub our toe. Why impose a judgment based on that? What do you notice about your physical body, and how does that influence how you feel about yourself and how you show up in the world? When you walk up a flight of stairs, do you feel winded or do you feel like you're in shape? Is your physical stamina in alignment with the activities you want to participate in life? Is your physical body in a space that makes you feel confident when you walk into a room? And do you really think that has anything to do with your physical presentation at all? Or is how confident you feel more deeply rooted in your belief systems, in your feelings, thoughts, and ideas than it is in your physical body? How do you feel noticing the breath moving through the areas of your body? When you breathe, what do you notice? Does your belly move up and down? Do your shoulders lift? Do you sit up straighter or do you slouch? When you focus on the breath, how does that feel? Moving through your body, moving through the space. What do you notice? Let's check back in with the breath. Let's work into a 6-count breath. A 6-count inhale, a 6-count hold, and a 6-count exhale. I'll count you off. Inhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's check in with memories. What do you remember? What moments of your life stand out? When you reflect on your life, you realize that there are moments, highlights. Maybe you think back to childhood. Maybe you think back to last year, last week, yesterday. What stands out in your mind when you focus on the memories? Is it the physical space where you were? Or is it the feeling you had while you were there? Our moments are quickly turning into our memories. And what we invite into the space of now is influencing the way we show up in the next moment. So the quality of our memories, the way we feel about our past, well, it influences how we show up in the present. So if we know that our moments are staying with us in a space of energy and emotion, what can we do now to get more out of our moments? What can we do now to be more aware of what we're creating in our thoughts, what we're manifesting with our words, and how we show up in the world with our actions? Let's check back in with the breath. This time a 7 count. Inhale, 7 count hold, and 7 count exhale. Don't feel any pressure. If you feel like you have to stop inhaling, no one's counting but me, and you're just going along for the ride. So when we're ready, I'll count for you. Inhale for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 7, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 7, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Check in with your awareness of the present. What exists within you and around you right now in this moment? What do you notice about this immediate space and time? Consider all of the senses. What do you hear? Even if your eyes are closed, what do you see? What do you smell? What do you taste? What do you touch? Everything within you and around you. Given all of the options of what you can choose to focus on, what are you choosing? You have so many options to focus on anything. So where will you choose to focus your awareness and attention now? What will you choose for yourself in the space of your breath? What you allow into this moment, the space of your life? What are you choosing to focus on? With all the options you have, you should certainly be focusing on something that's in alignment with what you want more of. Let's check back in with the breath. This is the kicker. 8 count inhale, 8 count hold, and 8 count exhale. Now this should really make you feel present in the breath. So be very aware of trying to allow in as much air as you can, feeling calm as you hold it, and calm as you exhale it out. I'll count it down. Inhale for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Check in. Do you have any predictions or visions of the future? You realize if we were to hold on to this breath, holding on to the last breath is just going to make you desperate for the next breath. And we want a clear path to our future. So what vision, what predictions do you have for yourself? Just being aware that if we hold our breath, if we hold on to the past, it's like dwelling on the past, which is distracting us from our present. So maybe let's play with that concept a little. Let's make an effort to hold the breath. So I'll count. We're going to make the effort to hold for about 15 counts. I know it sounds like a lot at first. I see the looks on some of your faces. But we're going to take our time and just being aware that holding the breath can bring you into a very different space of emotional being and space. So take the deepest inhale you've taken yet today. And then I'll ask you to hold 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, exhale 1. Ah. Now I can imagine towards the end of that countdown, you start to feel a little like anxious for the next breath. But the beauty of it is I'm counting down. So you knew that eventually I was going to get it 1. You knew there was a time where you're going to be able to invite in that next breath. Well, I'll suggest the time is now. That rather than holding on to the last breath, holding on to the past, allowing yourself to use this rhythm of the breath to create awareness. Awareness of your thoughts and ideas, an awareness of your feelings, an awareness of your physical sensations, an awareness of your memories, awareness of the present, an awareness of the future. And I'll suggest that that brings you into this one breath. And this is where your dreams, your desires, your passions, your purpose are waiting for you. So invite in one breath at a time and allow each breath to be the perfect space to explore everything in you and around you. You create an experience and an energy in this breath. And these experiences are yours. Now, if we've gone through so many options in this breath, between thoughts and feelings and physical sensations and memories and past and present and future and dreams, desires, all of these options of where to focus our awareness. And that's just creating an experience for us. So imagine then how we're able to impact others and the potential of the impact we have on the other people that we interact with. The ability we have to show up in a way that significantly impacts the people in the world around us. And the awareness that one breath can bring. So whenever it feels good, you come back into the physical space, open your eyes if you haven't already. And now that we've gone through the breathing exercises, just being aware of the fact that we can shift our focus to any area that we'd like. Maybe we need a little reality check. So this is our next exercise. Feel free to close your eyes, find yourself in a safe space. And I'll ask you just to think about where you'd like to be right now. If you could choose anywhere in the world to be, anywhere to be transported to, where would you go? What would you do? What does it look like, this place you've chosen to go to? I'm suggesting that our dreams are our personal goals for ourselves. So I'm going to ask you to start focusing on the details of this ideal space that you'd like to be in. In fact, I'm going to ask you to create the world you want to live in. What if you could design our world? Somebody asked you to outline the details of the world you want to live in. What would it look like? Imagine yourself already there. Is it a familiar place, a place you've been before, a place you know very well, or a place you've never been? What do you see in this space? What are the smells? How do you feel? Focus on the details of the place that you've chosen to be in. Is it a place that you want to stay in forever? You feel comfortable there? Or do you feel like you're only going to be there for a short period of time? What does this world look like? Just aesthetically, what does it look like? Is it a modernized world, concrete and steel, or is it natural landscapes of trees, jungles, forests, beaches? Would you choose to be in a room, in a building, a home, or outside in nature? What amenities would your world include? Would you include planes, trains, and automobiles? Or would you limit travel options to walking, cycling? Would you keep the space clean? Or would you allow pollution as a necessary byproduct of mass production and transportation? What about your food supply, water supply? In your world that you've designed, would your favorite food grow on trees? Or would it be packaged in a store? What about your fresh water? Is it flowing from waterfalls around you? Maybe it's fresh juices available. Maybe your favorite beverage is flowing from the fountains on every street corner. What would your world look like? And what will you do while you're there? Is there something specific you'd like to do? Some role you'd like to play? Maybe you're the queen or king of your kingdom. Maybe you'd just like to disappear off into the masses and spend time in solitude. Is there a person you'd like to be there with? Somebody you'd like to see there? Focus on the details of your surroundings. What are you choosing to focus on? The sights, the sounds, the physical feelings, the emotional energy. Focus on the details of the space around you, the feeling that space provokes within you. And notice that the physical almost seems secondary. The feeling, well, that drives everything. And just realize that when you fall asleep at night to dream, the physical reality never exists. You're not even aware that you're in your home. You believe your dreams are the reality. You're aware of the details of your dreams, and all your attention is focused on the dream. And that's what makes it real. So in the waking moments of your life, I'll suggest that spending a little time exploring your dreams might be a really useful work to try to find the space where your mind, your body, and your energy is opening you up to something more. Give yourself one more long inhale and exhale. And then as it feels good, open your eyes, let yourself back in the space. And let's work with our Kapalabhati breath. So it's our short, sharp breath. The beauty of this breath, it awakens energy up and down the spine, awakens the energy through the crown chakra. And it's a really full body, belly breath. So you really get to feel your physical body respond to the breath. So if you haven't done it before, it's short, sharp breaths. It's a ch, 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 ch. And the whole time your belly moves, you feel your whole body move. You feel like your shoulders are moving, everything's moving. It's a full body energy that happens with the breath. So I'll ask you to just release the breath when it feels good. And we'll do 3 rounds of the Kapalabhati breath. So the first 2 rounds will be at an even pace, and then we'll speed it up the 3rd round. So I'll count you off and breathe with you and create the pattern for you. So when it feels good, big exhale. I like to stick out my tongue. And then deep, deep inhale. Taking a moment, just checking in with the feeling. And then let's work into the second round. Inhale. Take a moment, just checking in. In the last round, we're going to speed up the pace a little. Big, deep inhale when you're ready. And just noticing how the body feels. Just noticing the sensations within you and around you. And then using this present moment awareness, this breath, to create thoughtful habits. Thinking about the habits of behavior that we can change to improve the way we show up in the world. How we process circumstances, how we respond to the external circumstances around us, and how we then internalize the energy we create inside. Think about the habits we create in our conversations, maybe making more of an effort to listen instead of speaking. Maybe making an effort to offer instead of asking for something. And certainly making the effort to compliment instead of criticize. If our approach to people is driven by our intention and our energy, if it's driven by the emotion we want to walk away with, then how might our actions start to be more in alignment with our intentions? So that the intentions we have for ourselves and the world, the evidence is in our action. That no one has to question why we're doing what we're doing, it's obvious. It's because the intention is showing up as the emotion we inspire, the connection we create, and ultimately the energy we want to have. So with that in mind, let's open the eyes and grab our candle for our candle meditation. So I like to have the candle nearby and hold on to it just so you feel it there. And it's always helpful to just start to look at the candle, the physical attributes of the candle. So you look at the color, the shape. Notice what it's housed in, whether it's a glass container or wax, or notice how heavy or light it is. And just start to look at the candle in a way that you're really in tune with the physical attributes of the candle. And now let's make it a little more interesting. Let's focus on appreciating the candle. So now we're creating an emotional connection with the candle. Maybe feel a sense of gratitude because the candle is creating this light, this heat. Think about what the candle's doing for you, this beautiful flame, something to look at, gaze at, lighting up your space. Think about the beauty of your candle. And then appreciating it so much that you start thinking about how the candle is feeling in this space. So you can feel free to place the candle down if you'd like. Just keep holding it, whatever feels good, just to take in the full energy of this candle. Start feeling grateful for the light, the heat that it gives off, the energy of the candle. And then let's make it even a little more interesting. Start to think about how the candle is feeling about being here. Is the candle okay with being burnt at one end? Do you think the candle realizes that its wick is only so long and the candle will only burn so bright for so long? Does the candle have an attachment to where it is right now? Do you think it's happier here being lit in our Zen den than it would be being lit in your bathroom? Do you think the candle has an attachment to where it is? Feeling a sense of gratitude for the candle, appreciating it, and just starting to assign an emotional space to it. Like, what if you left your candle sitting in a corner? Would it feel neglected? If you lit your candle every day, would it feel overused or unappreciated because it's just frivolously being lit all the time? Even in some imaginary way, starting to consider the feelings of the candle and begin being able to empathize with it. Maybe being more cautious about how you use the candle in the future because you're considering the feelings of the candle. We do it with our pets all the time. We assign an emotion to our pets. We are concerned if they're hungry, thirsty. We're concerned if they've been left alone too long. We're concerned we might be neglecting our pet. We want to make sure they're well taken care of because we realize that they don't have a voice. So we want to make sure that we make the extra effort to empathize with how they might be feeling, what they might need. And so my suggestion is, if we're able to do that with a candle, an inanimate object, that maybe we can start doing that with people. Starting to put ourselves in the position of someone else, thinking about how they might feel in the place where they are, and then allowing us to meet them there in some way, even if it's just energetically and emotionally. We want to be able to allow ourselves to feel both sides so that we're never just looking at things from our own perspective. We open it up a little bit, broaden our perception of the world, and allow ourselves to connect deeper with the strangers we meet, the people in our life, and just be more aware of the energy we ultimately want to invite in. So let's work into our candle meditation. So just take a moment and stare at the flame. The flame, just in and of itself, is a powerful way to check in with the present moment space. So start to look at the dimensions of the flame, the colors of the flame, just being aware of focusing on the flame itself, focusing on the colors, the heat, and just taking a few breaths to stare deep into the flame. And allowing that focus to bring you into a space of calm and awareness, to allow you to slow down a little. Feel the energy moving within you and around you and through you. Focusing on the flame. Noticing just how it moves with the energy around it. Maybe it's with your breath, the air that just moves in your space. Just feeling very connected to the flame, to your breath, and to yourself. Give yourself one more long, deep breath here. Just allowing yourself this space of awareness. And just knowing that as we close out, that my intention is always to give you a space, a safe space. So you can use some of these mind shifting strategies to create a Zen den in your mind, a mental sanctuary. So that whatever's going on in the world out there, you have the ability to find a space of peace and calm in here. And maybe that just happens one breath at a time. Maybe it's a function of your ability to create delusional happiness, creating a space for celebration of whatever's going on in this moment. But my intention is that you walk away from this feeling internally empowered, inspired to improve your own mental space, your own emotional space, so that it's easier for you to show up in the world in a way that might impact and be significant to others. I always like to offer my energy in a way that I hope is going to make you feel more deeply connected with yourself and your breath and your emotional space and the power of your thoughts to be able to create something more. And so I offer my free gift, which is my ebook of 10 tips for a positive mental shift. I'm continually improving the PDF, so whatever you get this week might be a fancier version of the flip book than it was before. So just keep checking your email and I'll be sending those out, and feel free to share them. Share the link, share the information, share the Zen Den, share me. I'm grateful to just feel like we're creating something more, because I feel like the more we're able to tap into these visualization exercises, these breath exercises, the more we're able to shift our emotional state, that we start to reduce the moments of time where we feel stressed or frustrated or anxious or depressed. And we start to increase the time where we feel empowered, we feel purposeful, we feel purpose driven. So on this Zen Den Zoom room sanctuary number 4, my intention is to give you at least the tools and tips to be able to walk away to create mindful patterns of thought, so that the more often we do something becomes easier, right? So creating patterns of compliments rather than criticisms, creating patterns where we use this breath to really check in, to be in tune with where we are, to be in tune with what actually exists in our space. So we don't think that our reality is defined or determined or dictated by someone else or something else. That we always have this independent space in this breath that is not occupied by anything else, to be able to create everything we want. And granted, sometimes that might show up in the form of delusional happiness. But I suggest that a delusion is much more productive than realistic misery could ever be. So the intention too is just to give you the tools so the next time you show up in the lives of someone else, that you have the ability to share what you already hold inside with someone else. You know, you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't give what you don't already possess. So I like to think of it as my responsibility almost to be able to shift my mental space so I can show up as the best version of myself, in the hopes of, you know, giving someone else maybe a little pep talk, a little word of encouragement, a compliment, something that allows them to shift the way they feel, so that we start to treat each other more like family rather than strangers, knowing our strangers are our neighbors and we're all in it together. We're not going anywhere. We're all here. So we might as well work to create not just a Zen Den in your personal home here on Tuesday nights, but create the Zen Den that exists in everything.